If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I grow all my flowers and plants from seeds and by propagation. This is how I created my garden. I propagated most plants growing in my garden, or I grew them from seeds. It's very easy to grow plants from seeds, not only for your cutting gardens but also for your garden. Growing your own plants and flowers from seeds is really rewarding, but picking them and arranging them later is like double happiness to me. I absolutely love arranging my own flowers, and I like to see them as my little gardens. So when I choose my stems, when I choose foliage and flowers, I like to think of my arrangements as little gardens, and I carefully choose my plants that I use, my flowers that I use for my arrangements. When I go for walks, I always look around if there is anything interesting. It could be a few wild grasses or an interesting shrub somewhere, wild shrubs, and sometimes I pick one or two stems. And yesterday I went for a walk and I found this whipping willow on my way, and I just picked 3 stems, and when I turned the whipping willow around, the leaves were grey and they looked really lovely. They reminded me a little bit of eucalyptus, so I picked them and I added them to my arrangements. They looked really, really lovely with dahlias and with straw flowers. The best time for picking flowers is early in the morning if you can. Of course, if you can't, that's okay. But I do prefer to pick my flowers in the morning, and I straight away place them in some fresh water. When I pick dahlias, I put them in warm water and I leave them outside in a shady area, just to absorb that water and for the water to cool down. And I leave all my flowers in the water for few hours before I start arranging them. When I arrange flowers, I remove all the lower foliage from all my stems and I place them in front of me so I can choose the right stem to create interesting arrangements. So this way I can see them all in front of me, and it helps me to see and choose the right stem. I'm not a professional florist, but I just enjoy the moment where I can sit down and spend that time with the flowers that I grew. And what I love about arranging flowers is that I can use all my senses. I feel them, I smell them, I look at them. I absolutely love textures, and I love combining them with flowers. It really is a very, very special time. It's those moments, peaceful moments, where all I think about is my flower arrangement and nothing else. It really slows me down and it gives me a great opportunity to relax. Growing your own flowers is not difficult at all. There are so many amazing varieties that can be grown by complete beginners, and a lot of flowers can be grown from seeds that you can just scatter around and you don't really need to do much. So you can be a very busy person and you can still create a wonderful, wonderful cutting garden. And autumn time is brilliant for planning it all. This is the time of the year where I actually sit down and make a plan for next year. I carefully choose the varieties that I'm going to grow in my cutting garden for next year, and I often try different plants. So every year I try to grow something that I have never grew before, and then I grow it for a season, and then I decide if I like it, if it did well, if it's easy to grow, how much foliage I get from it. So just a little test, and if they perform, if I'm happy with them, I then add them to my list. And in the autumn time, where I slow down, and also in the winter time, I make a plan. And because my cutting garden is visible from my house and is in the middle of my garden, I treat it almost like a border. So I design it carefully so it looks good. I design it so when I don't pick the flowers, the cutting garden still looks nice to look at. And that's what I love about cutting gardens, that they can not only be productive and give you buckets and buckets of flowers, but they also look lovely, and you can actually sit and look at them and enjoy. And that's what I absolutely love about having your own cut flower garden. On my Instagram, I often share short videos and teaching you how you can create gardens, how you can create cutting gardens, how to grow your own flowers and how to grow them from seeds and from cuttings. It really is something I'm very, very passionate about, because it's such an accessible and simple thing that everybody can do. And no matter how big or small your garden is, you can still grow your own flowers. You can even grow them in pots if you haven't got enough space, and just benefit from it and seeing the beauty and just enjoy it. I'm really, really passionate about it. It's very important where you place your cutting garden in your garden. Most plants that create flowers need full sun, so it really makes sense to choose a very sunny spot where your flowers will thrive and your plants will grow enough blooms for you to pick and arrange. That is one of the most important things. Beginning of the year, I usually add my chicken manure, and I also started using green manure, which for me is like pure gold. It's very, very easy to do. You sow your seeds and you forget about them, and they give your cutting garden loads and loads of nutrients. It's really important to provide enough nutrients for your plants, because as you can imagine, they work so hard from the moment you place them, you plant them, or you sow them in your cutting garden over the next few months, where they produce so many flowers and you keep picking them and they keep producing. So it really makes sense to give them as many nutrients as possible, as much attention as you possibly can, but that doesn't mean that you need to spend a lot of time doing it. There are a few very basic tricks which I always share on my Instagram and tell you exactly how I do it. And even though I am a very busy mom of 2 boys with a very busy lifestyle, I still manage to grow amazing flowers. And I actually don't start in the autumn time. I know that many gardeners start in the autumn time and they start growing plants in their greenhouses. You don't really need a greenhouse to create a cutting garden and to grow the most amazing flowers. There are so many plants that you can grow from seeds and directly sow them in the springtime. So that is brilliant, because it means that everybody can grow flowers. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I not only enjoy the garden, but I really care about our environment. I really care about the insects and pollinators, and I feel like I'm just passing and I'm part of it. I'm not more important than all the bees or butterflies flying around or tiny little insects. They are as important as I am, and I'm making sure that my garden is a happy place and a welcoming place for all those insects. And what it means when you grow flowers instead of just grass, that you provide so much food for all those insects. And not only in the summertime when there's so much around, but if you have a cutting garden with late flowering flowers, you provide so much food for all those insects. And a lot of them, which people often forget, are flying at night, such as moths. There are so many moths that are feeding on plants where we are asleep, where we don't see them. And as you know, I've got two little boys, and they are obsessed about moths. And we often go at night and we look around, and we take our torches and we look around and we spot some pretty moths. And they are the ones that will also feed on your flowers at night, where you don't even know how much goodness how much good stuff you create, and how much you support wildlife. And that is another thing. Not only you have a lovely bunch of flowers that you can enjoy, but you also positively contribute to the environment. And that is so important to me. It's not painful at all, and doesn't require a lot of time. You just do something, and the positivity happens in the background. You don't even know about it, and that is just the best. You are positively contributing by growing your own flowers in your gardens, and that is just the best. I do absolutely love my flowers. On my Instagram, I share loads of easy to follow videos and showing you how to grow flowers. I often talk about the easy to grow flowers. I show you how to arrange your flowers, how to make wreaths, and just get pleasure from your garden. So if you would like to follow me on Instagram as well, please do. I'm Anya the Garden Fairy, and I'm just starting this YouTube channel. I will add more content, and I do hope you will get inspired. Thank you so much, everybody.